Having a business partner is literally like getting married. If it doesn't work out, you basically have to get a divorce. If you are not taking advantage of real estate related tax breaks, you are losing out. The tax advantages are one of the major reasons you should be investing in real estate. I literally take a picture of every single receipt every time I spend money and send it to my and I tell them it's never worth the repercussions of getting in trouble with the government. Make sure you check with your attorney when you're doing things like that. But if you're in a state like California that evictions do not work that way, this could literally break me. On today's episode, I'm gonna be answering questions that y'all have asked all across my social media channels. If we haven't met before, my name is Heather Blankenship. I've been investing in real estate for over a decade, and I am so excited to answer y'all's questions, so let's get started. If you were talking to a potential CPA, what questions would you be asking? Is it important that they are familiar with real estate? Is it important that they know your state? What actually makes a CPA good? Okay, y'all, this is a really great question. If you are not taking advantage of real estate related tax breaks, you are losing out. The tax advantages are one of the major reasons you should be investing in real estate. But if this isn't something that your accountant deals with day to day, they probably aren't gonna know the best strategies for you. And in reality, you need to be planning these strategies out with your accountant in advance, not after the fact. I definitely recommend using an industry specific accountant and bookkeeper as opposed to just your local CPA. Having really good books is gonna be instrumental to your accountant being able to use these tax advantages for you. Because if you're just spending money and you don't know exactly where every single penny is going, they're not gonna be able to write off these things for you. You need a receipt for each and every item, and having a really good bookkeeping strategy is the key to that. I literally take a picture of every single receipt every time I spend money and send it to my bookkeeper, and I tell them exactly what it's for and what company so that we are properly tracking our books. Now, like I said, I've been doing this for 14 years. I did not always do that. My books were a total mess when I first got started because I did not realize the advantage of this. But when you start learning about different tax strategies, you realize that a lot of the things you're doing can be write-offs and business expenses. So you've got to keep track of it for your accountant to even know that. I'm getting ready to do a deal with a partner. How do you structure it? Who's doing what? What's the split and how did you come to those terms? What's the plan if you get into business together and 6 months later, you don't like each other? These are really great questions because having a business partner is literally like getting married. If it doesn't work out, you basically have to get a divorce. So you need to cover all of those terms in your agreement. And there is no like standard how do you do this. It's kind of the wild west of how you structure something like this. I really like to emphasize to date your potential partner. Don't just go to a conference and meet somebody and be like, I spent a couple hours with you. You're freaking amazing. Let's be business partners. You don't know that person. You would not get married to that person. So I want you to get to know this person. Make sure that your morals and your values are in line because that's really going to matter when you have disagreements and they need to do the right thing because not everything's going to be covered in your legal document because you aren't going to know what you don't know yet. And also, don't go into business with somebody who has the same skill sets as you do. The best partnerships are for people who have complementary skill sets, meaning if you're really great at operations and they're really great at deal finding and raising money, you make a really good team. But if both of your skills are deal finding and raising money, who the heck is gonna operate the property and continue to make sure that it's cash flowing to pay back your investors? You really need a partner who has complementary skill sets to you, not the exact same. And when you're building out that agreement, it's really important to get detailed on whose responsibility is gonna be what. And you need a breakup plan. If things don't work out between you, exactly what happens? How does the split happen? Who gets to keep the company? Are you selling? Can you buy each other out? What's the rate at which you buy each other out? If you have a really good attorney, they are gonna be able to think these things through for you. If you're considering a partnership, I highly recommend having a qualified attorney structure this partnership with you. Next question, how do you stay out of trouble with the SEC when raising private money or doing offerings? Y'all, you do not want to get in trouble. I know a lot of people have this idea of like ask for forgiveness, not permission, and you'll figure it out later. When it comes to things like the SEC, they don't care. There is not an ask for forgiveness. So anytime you are doing something like this, you need to make sure you are following the SEC guidelines and using an SEC specific attorney. Does that mean that you can't have a friend or family member invest some money with you on a deal that you're doing and pay them back? No, but it does mean that there are guidelines you have to follow. I am not an attorney, so you need to ask them for advice on this. this, and most of those gurus that you see on social media that are telling you about their deals and their stories that have not been registered with the SEC are going to eventually get in trouble. It's never worth the repercussions of getting in trouble with the government. Make sure you check with your attorney when you're doing things like that. Have you ever intentionally bought a property with an active eviction in place for negotiating power? Yes. But make sure that you are doing this in a landlord-friendly state, because not all states have the same laws for housing and what the process is for evicting somebody. I own properties in Tennessee and Florida, which are fairly landlord-friendly, and the eviction process for getting somebody out is actually really quick. Over the course of about 60 days with a few different things that you go through, you should be able to get a tenant out, especially if you have an eviction-specific attorney. They usually charge a flat fee for that. The first time I ever did an eviction, I used my regular attorney, which was a huge mistake. While they are freaking amazing, they don't specialize in evictions, so I was being charged their hourly rate. I spent almost $2,000, and this was years ago, so it'd be more now, to go through that eviction process. Later on, I learned that there were eviction-specific attorneys and that it was a flat fee of $250 in my area to go through the eviction process. It's super streamlined. Once you take them to court, the 30 days passes. They've got 10 days to vacate the property. The sheriff comes and literally requires them to leave. So in the states that I own properties in, it's definitely a great idea if the seller hasn't figured out that process and needs that help. But if you're in a state like California that evictions do not work that way, this could literally break you. If you've enjoyed having these questions answered today, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you have a question you want me to answer on the next episode, comment and let me know below.